Call today's Infrastructure Committee meeting to order. Clerk, could you please read the roll?
Mr. Smith? Here. Ms. Seiden? Ms. Tanner? Mr. Burke? Mr. Lachlan? Mr. Bender? Mr. Corbin?
Here.
We do not have a quorum, but no vote is going to be made, so we can go ahead with the presentation.
Thank you very much, Clerk. Grant, thank you very much for agreeing to come today and talk to us about a different kind of infrastructure, the broadband infrastructure, and also the backbone of the parish, the Munis system.
Yes, sir.
I know there's at least two of the items we're going to talk about today, so I look forward to your presentation, and thank you for taking time for being here with us today.
Excited to be here.
Thank you.
All right, so the first presentation I have is on broadband.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
All right, so initially, I think in 2021 at the end, President Cooper asked me to look into using ARPA funds for broadband and where it would make sense. So the problem was, where is the underserved or unserved community? How bad is it? And we basically decided to open a request for proposal, an RFP for planning, just to identify where the problem was. The first thing we received from the company that won the RFP, this is speed test data. Every time you connect to the internet, stream a video, whatever it is, it does a negotiation. It identifies the speed of the network before it plays a video. We purchased that data to identify the speeds within the entire parish.
And Grant, can you interpret that chart you just showed as white good or as dark purple good?
So as you look through, dark purple is the best.
Okay.
Lighter purple is a little bit better. These are upload, download speeds. So anywhere from 100 megabits down to 20 megabits up. So that is kind of the highest. That's the darkest purple. That is like cable internet, cable modem. So it's not very fast. It's not like fiber would be, which would be gigabit down, gigabit up, symmetrical, up to 5 gigabit for a residential. So these numbers really just show kind of a moderate internet speed. This wouldn't be a high-speed internet.
Very good. Thank you very much
Yes,
for
sir.
explaining that.
So we identified the gray area right here in the shadow. This was the problem area that we wanted to solve. This area represents a rural community, which fits with the ARPA fund grants. This area was underserved, and we basically identified it was about a $72 million problem. We did not have $72 million of ARPA funds. We broke the area in question up into 7 fiber hoods. Fiber hoods is a Google term. It's how Google runs fiber through the country. So we basically, the company that won the RFP did this same process in Breckenridge, Colorado, Huntsville, Alabama. So we kind of followed that same model. In that we only had $7 million to spend to solve the problem, we had to get creative and figure out what the best way to do it was. So there we are, $72 million to problem with $7 million. So we identified, the strategy we identified was a last mile grant. What this does is this pays for the last mile from the neighborhood into the home. So we identified if we purchased a certain amount of houses rather than purchase middle mile, that was what was considered the hard part by ISPs. So by purchasing those houses in a smaller area, they would then cover the cost of the middle mile to reach the houses if we just covered the houses and guaranteed that once we got there, we would connect the houses.
So if you basically were saying if you put the main pipe in, they're going to handle or if they put the main pipe in, now there's a benefit putting that main pipe because you're putting in the next
Correct.
individual interconnect.
Correct. We basically, they told us that we don't mind the middle mile. We've got infrastructure. We can kind of bridge those gaps. Our problem is once we get to the neighborhoods.
Right.
If you go back and look at this chart, those are big areas. So what we did, I worked with Sean in procurement on the RFP process. We took those areas and we shrunk them down into smaller areas, kind of more centralized. Since they were going to cover the middle mile, they'll come back and they'll connect the gaps. So we just paid for areas kind of in the spotted area to allow them to connect in the large areas to spread and connect the gaps in between the parish. So we were able to solve the $72 million problem for $7 million.
That's impressive. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So we had the ribbon cutting last month with AT&T in Folsom. There's 24-month contracts, so this will be done by this time next year.
Okay, and on that graph, if you go back one chart, Which of those are closed out? Phase 1 is just the ones in Folsom, there's a red?
So, yeah, they've all been awarded. Folsom has the first house connected. The yellow is part of Phase 2, which was awarded in February of last year. The yellow was the last phase. We started out small because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. This hadn't been done before. So I wasn't sure if it was going to succeed, so I did some test areas. It worked out great.
Very good.
AT&T and Swift jumped on it. They were excited with it. They understood what we were trying to do, and they went forward with it. So
Very good. President Cooper?
So would you, for the purpose of those in the audience and those watching, identify those geographic areas that are in yellow and orange?
sure.
The ones that aren't in the first phase?
So the first phase is between Covington and Folsom, a little bit south of Folsom. Folsom was already in the process of being covered, so we didn't have to worry about that. We got the Swift one, the northern part of Folsom, and Tallahassee, which is the east part of the parish. And then everything else went to AT&T, which was just a competitive bid process.
Right.
So Waldheim and Lacombe are part of the second phase. The third phase was Tallahassee, I guess the area to the east of Waldheim, and the area north called, I think, Blonde is what it was kind of called, the area. This basically hit the infrastructure, hit the highways that allowed the middle mile to connect through the parish. Yes, sir.
Could you also enumerate how many homes or businesses might be affected or might now have the availability of fast-speed internet?
Sure. So we paid for about 3,000 homes for a cost of about $2,800 per home. For comparison, the Gumbo grant that the state ran was about a $7,900 per home grant. So we really were very cost effective with our grant process. And because of the way we shrunk things down, the 400 houses we paid for in Folsom are going to end up being about 1,200 houses. They'll get access to it.
So well leveraged.
Very well leveraged.
Okay. Very good. Any other comments? Rick, anything?
No.
All right, Grant? Oh, President
have-
Cooper?
Yes. What additional support might we get from the state for broadband in the future?
So any gaps that remain unserved will come back when they do their BEAD program, and they will fill those at later days. I think our goal for this was December of 2026. Their goal is December of 2029. So by 2029, everyone should have some type of
And they'll be using their broadband funding that they receive through ARPA and other means?
They're going to use BEAD funds, which are being held up right now. I think the current presidential administration has pulled back on that, and they're waiting for those to be released. One of the nice things here, this is a 10 gigabit backbone, which allows 5 gigabit service to every address. So every address inside of here will be able to get 5 gigabits up or down, symmetrical.
So Grant, when the part we're seeing on the screen is complete, do you have a percentage of the households in St. Tammany that will be, assuming all those connections are made, the percentage of the houses that will be connected?
I don't. I can get that for you though.
Well, okay. Do you have a?
So this of the area that's uncovered, it's going to be about 15 to 20% of the uncovered area. And within 2 years, they should come back and fill in that whole gap.
Okay, very good. And you don't know what parish-wide we have today, do we?
As far as full coverage, the municipalities were excluded from this study.
Okay.
So from the northern part of this, it was a significant portion of the houses that were uncovered. I mean, it was somewhere in the like 80%.
Very good. All right, President Cooper?
And will there be schools, libraries, businesses within these geographic areas that may be on the fringe or the periphery of getting fast-speed internet as well?
So we're seeing that now, that some of the businesses in the area, libraries, are basically moving from the charter service or cable service to this fiber service. So we're already starting to see some of that happen today.
Very good. President Cooper, any more questions?
No, I just want to thank Grant for leading this effort. For once it was identified through ARPA that money should be spent and dedicated and allocated towards broadband for unserved and underserved areas, that Grant fully understood it and grasped it and had a plan moving forward. And I think we have one of the most successful allocations and implementation of our broadband money.
I'd agree with that. I think the state has said that as well.
Well, Grant, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. I know you have more you're going to cover today, but I just wanted to express my thanks for what you're doing as a parish that's transitioning from a rural environment to suburban. This is a great steps that allows us to be able to offer services regardless of where you live in the parish, an equivalent level of services both for individuals, but also especially for students in school to get access to materials they need, to be able to access the internet, and because that's so important to students today in the early years of their education.
So at Healthier North Shore, with Ann Pavlovich, she actually told us that that broadband access is it's super determinant for healthcare outcomes. So having the access to broadband lets people go home and be monitored from their house as opposed to staying in the hospital.
Oh, I didn't even think of that one. That's outstanding. Well, thank you very, very much. Okay?
Yes, sir. All right. The next presentation I have is
Your retirement. No.
All right. Munis ERP reboot. There we go. All right. So this has been kind of a long-running process. It's some of the problems we have, I'm going to go into. We had to perform a cloud migration to begin this. They have a branch development. Well, what that means is they have the on-premise development, which they have one set of code, and then cloud, which has a second set of code. The best developers that they have are on the cloud side, so they really want you to go to the cloud to get the more advanced features. So when we started this, that was one of the first things they told us, you need to get onto the cloud code model and move there. So we did that this past year. This gave us, it offloaded the hosting costs, so we're no longer hosted inside of our environment, we're now hosted inside of Munis's. They handle upgrades, they handle all of the uptime. That's moved out of our hands, which is kind of nice sometimes not so great, because when things out of your control, you can't control it.
How does it, I know there's capital costs to go have the equipment on site, but in terms of the operations and maintenance of the equipment on site versus outsourcing that, is it a significant difference in price? Is it fairly equivalent because they really want you to be there?
No, it's a premium cost
Okay.
to go into their model. But on the other hand, you get the full uptime, you get redundancy, you get all the backups. They really handle all of that on the backside.
Okay.
So from our side, we took 15 virtual servers out of our environment. We don't have to manage those anymore. We don't have to worry about security on them. They handle all of that. From
And
that
you also
side.
don't have to worry about capitalization when you replace them and things of that
Correct.
sort.
I'll get to that later. We actually moved to a more flexible model for servers, which enabled us to save costs on the back end.
Okay, I have a question, but I think it'll probably be in your presentation, so I'll wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so next steps. So one thing we were able to take advantage of now is we have customized dashboards. So directors have a dashboard. There's dashboards inside of work orders and different features within the program. Workflows is the next thing that probably needs to be looked at for cost or time savings. So we're looking at evolution there, and then reduction of steps inside of the workflows. It's probably going to Annie. I expect to probably lead that charge. Here's the work orders dashboard. If you look, this is where our public works barns kind of sit most of the day. It's kind of a one-stop shop. It shows them what's happening inside, how many work orders are moving, what the status is, and gives you a calendar inside of that. These are the kind of dashboards we're seeing inside of the new cloud program. This is a director's dashboard. It shows you all your action items that you have to do, shows you movement of money, and it gives you graphs over time that give you the ability to just see what's happening over time and trend analysis.
So when you say trend analysis, you mean like efficiencies and you say things like history, how long something stayed open to get completed?
Sure. So you could see if something had stayed open to, if maybe it took a long time to get through a cycle workflow. If you notice, hey, we've got 5 of these orders going through Amazon over a 5-day period, would it make sense to really consolidate the Amazon orders into a single order and then go once? Those are the kind of things that we'd have the visibility to look at.
Okay, very good.
So that's where we are with the Munis reboot right now.
Okay, and are those dashboards being, how is the adaptability or by each of the entities?
So the ones that I just showed you were the default dashboards. Those are available today. We could plug those in, and whatever you have access to at your level, it's going to customize to.
Okay.
So if you have visibility into a particular line item, it's going to show you everything under that, and you can drill into it.
Okay. One couple of questions relatively quickly. since we're on the cloud environment, do we have the ability to control the upgrades that we incorporate, or do they, since we're on cloud, we just accept it when it happens?
We are at their mercy.
Okay, so that obviously supports the reason why we'd have almost zero custom code. Do we have no custom code now at this point?
So we don't have custom code in the sense of code that we're running. We have customizations.
Okay.
So when you go into like your dashboards, my dashboard, I may have some customizations in there. I may want to look at an 18-month period versus you may want to look at a 6 or a three-week period. So those are the kind of customizations we're going to see. It's not going to be code that's customized as to because you're familiar with we both come from a federal background. It's not that level of custom code where when you run an upgrade, you've got to look at your custom code. These are really just graphical display.
You're talking about more about toggles that allow you to turn
Correct.
features on and off,
Correct.
but they're already operating in the code whether you want to use them or not, as opposed to trying to where you have a process that doesn't map the way the code does business, and you're trying to do custom
Correct.
code to parse information.
Yeah, so I think the only area we've got some custom code is on the movement of money between systems. There's some things there that we have. That goes through Munis on the back end, so
Okay.
they support that with us.
Okay. All right. Rick, do you have any questions?
You know, this is not my wheelhouse. You know that. So,
Just wanted to
that
check.
somebody once said sometimes it's best just to keep your mouth shut and seem stupid as opposed to opening your mouth and confirming it. I really don't know a whole lot about how Grant does this stuff. This is out of my league, so.
Right. Grant,
Yes, sir.
I know it wasn't in your charts, but can you kind of give us highlights of what your 4 or 5 key next steps that you see are important particularly in the Munis upgrade or Munis reboot process that we should be watching for?
Yeah, so inside of Munis, we should see these workflows. We need to reevaluate. When the workflows were put in place, we had a different structure within government. That structure's been revisited. We should revisit the workflows and how they're organized. Make sure that we're only stopping once per item. So for a requisition, it shouldn't stop through the same people 2 and 3 times.
Right.
Those are the kind of things we need to identify. Where's the right spot? How many times should it stop here? Do you want to have the first check or the last check? Those are the kind of things we basically need to go through and sit down and negotiate and discuss what makes the most sense to make sure we're transparent and make sure the money's moving properly.
Okay. Any other steps, or is that the only one hanging out?
So that's probably the biggest one outstanding. I think Ms. Tanner has wanted to look at the accounts and I think short form versus long-term accounts. We can look at that. There's some advantages there. I think inside of grants, there's some efficiency we could take advantage of in front of grants, but we'd have to do it at a fiscal year turnover.
Okay.
Basically, we'd want to move the capital assets separate from the other assets, or grant assets separate from capital assets. And that's something we can look at. It may make sense, it may not. That's really going to be more of an Annie's expertise on that, but that's something we had seen other places that had helped. We are different beasts of parish government, so it may or may not make sense.
Okay. How close are we to departmental metrics that can be shared to start looking at improvements in productivity, efficiency, and quality? That's one of the things that I personally have been pushing, and when I say pushing, I don't mean pushing aggressive, but
Sure.
in conversation with the administration and President Cooper and Gina, of course, to say how can we go use some of these metrics to be able to demonstrate to our customers, our constituents, how we're doing as a parish entity and how we're getting better over
So
time.
these dashboards are more of a framework. So if you look at the framework, there's a lot of just automated graphs and those things. We need to look at basically pulling the exact data we want, organizing it. Our developers can pull the data in, create a view for it, and then give you the dashboard you're looking for. So I think when you sit down at this point, the dashboards are ready and say, what data do you want in your dashboard?
Okay.
And what drill downs do you want? When you double click on it, what do you want to go to? So I think when you start mapping those things out, and the dashboards actually exist today.
Very good. And I think the last thing I have is we talked about the website and the Public Works form. Has that been fixed?
That has not been fixed.
Who do we hand that off to?
So Mr. John Crawford sitting back there.
All right. So, John, Grant can obviously tell you what that is, but I think there's an opportunity for us to have direct entry into the system as opposed to remote two-step entry that exists today. And so that's really what I was asking him
So we're
about.
looking for an API into the Munis system externally.
For public works projects, for example. Okay,
Yes, sir.
very good. I knew we knew what we're talking, you knew I was going to ask that.
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. President Cooper?
Yes, sir.
Do you have another presentation?
I do.
Okay, I'll
Very
wait
good.
for the other
Yeah.
presentation.
Next.
All right. So the last thing I was asked was a technology advancement over the last 4 years, 4.5 years that I've been here. So we just signed a deal with a server vendor for hardware as a service. So we're going to basically move to a lease model for our servers in our server rooms. It's a flexible lease, so it allows us to only pay for what we use. So as we use less, we'll pay for less. If we need to move more, say something happened and we had to bring stuff back in-house, we had the ability to flex and extend that. If you look at this the cost of servers, this is 2003 numbers. So this is basically what it would cost to replace servers back then. So it's $1.5 million per server room. This also allowed us, VMware has been a problem. It's a virtualization software. That software has gone through the roof 3 times what it was a couple years ago since it gotten purchased. This allows us to fall under Dell's licensing for that. So overall, the total cost for everything was $1.4 million, which is basically the cost of one server room. We get both server rooms and that virtualization technology under it. So over 5 years, it's going to save us $2.3 million.
Wow, that's a year, or that's total over the
Total
5
over 5 years. So
Very
about
good.
$500,000 a year.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Cybersecurity, my background is Department of Defense. So we've moved to a Department of Defense model for cybersecurity. We do weekly vulnerability scans, and we sit down with the team, do a review of those scans to grade and assess what the vulnerability and risks are. Look at the threat surface, or the attack surface, and from that we have a resolution mitigation planning meetings. So we bring in cybersecurity and the operations team together. We identify what the risks are and when they can be solved, and if it's a close, or if we can't close it right now, we put a mitigation in place with a close date.
Okay.
All of these things are basically now monitored inside of a project management system, so we keep track of make sure the dates are held to and are met. We put in place network intrusion monitoring 3 years ago. We're in the process of changing that product right now. It's going to get better and cheaper. We've moved to cloud-based backups. When I got here, we were still utilizing tape backups, which was technology from the 80s. We have moved to cloud-based backups. We have the ability to spin up in the cloud were an event to happen that completely shut down our environment here.
Very good.
We moved to next generation antivirus. As we move into an AI world, the ability to spin off variations of an antivirus where traditional antivirus works off of a matching model of an algorithm. AI can create 10 different variants of an algorithm that don't match that algorithm. So traditional antivirus is really out the window in an AI world. This next generation antivirus works off behaviors, so identifies the behaviors that are recognized on a machine by a user. So if a user spins up a program they shouldn't, if a user logs in at 3 in the morning, if a user tries to go do something that's out of character, it'll actually stop the process and alert security. If it's bad enough, it'll kick a machine off the network.
Okay.
So we have all those in place now, just for protection. This year we did Office 365 cloud migration. We've completed that as of October. As of October. So our entire environment is now Office 365 cloud-based. We did Munis cloud migration we just talked about. Our GIS team is internationally recognized department. As of last year, they were recognized for a special achievement in GIS for the data organization and mapping that we've done over the last 4 years. We have professional development in place for my staff to make sure that they continue to keep up with technology. They get assignments through Udemy, and they basically are kind of encouraged to keep up with current technology, and they're given time to do so.
So it's like an ongoing continuing education program.
Correct. So the way Udemy works, it's creator-based. So creators will come out, they'll create a product, a course that would, because the more popular it is, the higher it rises. But the courses are built for modern technology, and we can tell if someone's getting ready to go work on a particular router, we can assign them that router course that they would go take beforehand.
Very good. Okay.
We upgraded our firewalls to next generation firewalls. These firewalls are smart. They learn as things go on. So they learn our behaviors and how we react. So when you see activities are outside of the normal, we'll get alerts from the firewall.
Very good.
President Cooper invested in internal firewalls 3 years ago. We have internal firewalls to track traffic sideways, which is one of the biggest vulnerabilities. So if someone were to get in and click on something, it goes sideways, you start seeing go between departments, we get an alert from that now internally, which we would not have had before those. We moved to Monday.com for project management. So our project management, everything we do is tracked time-wise by people. If you go into our department, we've got a big list of all the projects going up, and they'll be red, yellow, or green. If it's red, we immediately go look at the project, why it's red. A person's face is on it. We know why it's red and who's caused it to go red. Let's go, hey, do you need help? Is something going on? What's caused this to stop? So it basically keeps us abreast of projects in motion. So as things are happening, we can react as it happens, not after the fact.
Have you worked that with any other significant departments where they're doing?
Procurement has it today.
Okay. Engineering or public works?
I think they had looked at it and they felt it didn't work for them.
Okay. All right.
We've got a 10 gig backbone across the parish. That's a big deal because we have now surveillance videos going across. We've got just so much data moving. We started seeing some slowdowns. This backbone enabled data to move throughout the parish without having any disruptions we were seeing in the past. We've got a surveillance system now that runs across the parish. It was initially put in place at the Justice Center. We extended it out to the barns. We've now got it in every building. So every building is now connected. A security guard can sit and watch every building as people move across. You can track people through it. So if a bag gets put down, they can actually track this bag was put down. They can identify the person that put it down. They can follow them to their car all through the system and record it. Okay. We moved from 16 models of laptops that I had when we got here. I've only got 2 support personnel, so we dropped that down to 2, an engineering laptop and a standard laptop. That enabled us to do all testing on the laptop. So if a patch comes through, we can actually run through any type of risk patching before we release it out in the public by just having 2 of those. And it enables the 2-person staff to really handle everything. We moved to digital archives in 2021. We were a paper archive shop up until then.
Good. Well, Grant, thank you again. The only question I'd have, President Cooper may have one. Do we also mirror our overall system in a remote location from the primary?
So we mirror between here and our secondary location at the EOC.
Okay.
We also have the cloud-based backups, which are mirrored. It's a mirrored backup. We have the ability to spin up virtual servers in that cloud environment if needed.
Okay, so if one went down, we have the ability to get back online very, very quickly.
So if one went down, our email would stay up. Our email's in the cloud, Munis is in the cloud. Those are separated. So you're really looking at just our file system. So yeah, our file servers are backed up to the cloud with the ability to stand up and connect back up within like 30 minutes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Thank you, Grant, for that presentation. With regard to the Emergency Operations Center in downtown Covington, can you tell us how important that is as a data center for our systems?
So for us, we basically work in a hub and spoke model. The Emergency Operations Center, the old courthouse in Covington, is the hub of that hub and spoke model. All data goes through there. We've got resilient internet put through there, north, south, east, and west, with 2 separate internet providers. That basically is a nerve center for everything we do IT-wise, from the network and the server infrastructure.
And you may have mentioned this, the Justice Center in downtown Covington. What improvements or enhancements with regard to security, cameras, scanners
Yes.
have taken place in the past several years?
So we have replaced the entire back-end network. John back there went through every single closet himself. So think how many closets are out there?
A dozen or so.
Yeah, so there's something like about 12, 13 closets. We've replaced every piece of equipment inside of there. We put firewalls inside of the courthouse. We've got surveillance systems inside of there. We have wireless access points. So basically anywhere inside of there you have access to the wireless network as well.
Very good.
And here and other parish-owned buildings, was there the addition of outside cameras for
So we put
security?
this surveillance systems in this past year everywhere. So we had the courthouse in 2021. We did the barns in 2023. In this past year, 2025, we put them out through the rest of the main parish buildings.
Very good. Right, that it? Grant, thank you very much. We appreciate your okay. We appreciate your service to the parish on behalf of the constituents of St. Tammany Parish. I'm very impressed with what's been accomplished. I'm confident that President Cooper and the administration will find someone, hopefully, that can fill both of your shoes well and keep us moving forward at the pace you were moving us forward. So thank you very much for your leadership. Thanks for all that you helped us accomplish. And as always, all the best in whatever you're going to go do next.
Thank you very much.
And before you sit down, thank you, Chairman. I too want to express those sentiments. Thank you for your service the last 4.5 years, as just presented here, where we've gone from one level of security and technology to where we are today is phenomenal, and we certainly appreciate what you've done, and we'll try to find somebody to transition well and keep the locomotive moving forward in providing further security and addressing our technology needs, and we certainly appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much. 30 seconds of personal privilege. So I'm going to read something real quick. It's been a tremendous honor to serve as Technology Director for St. Tammany Parish over the last 4.5 years. When I look back, I'm not just proud of the technology we deployed, but the teamwork, creativity, problem solving that made it all possible. None of these accomplishments were mine alone, they were ours. They were possible because of your trust, support, shared commitment to serving this community. These weren't just technology upgrades, they were investments in efficiency, resiliency, and service to our community. President Cooper, I want to thank you for your vision and leadership. Ms. Gina Hayes, I'd like to thank you for your guidance and confidence throughout the last 4 years. To the council, I'd like to thank you for taking the time and asking the questions to understand each project and how it aligned with the direction of the parish. To my fellow directors, I'd like to thank them for the collaboration and partnership over the last 4 years. It's been an honor to serve alongside these dedicated public servants who work tirelessly for St. Tammany Parish to make us stronger every day. I leave deeply proud of what we've accomplished together and excited for what comes next.
Grant, thank you very much. All right. With nothing else on our agenda, can I get a motion to adjourn? So moved. We're adjourned.